Wife became a workaholic, neglecting our daughter and dismissing me, and now we're battling resentment and looking down divorce's barrel. My, 27 male, family's broken, and I'm trying to reassemble the pieces. I need advice. For context, my wife, 29F, and I are childhood sweethearts married now for around 5 years. I know we became parents and got married pretty young, but we've made it work. My wife's a small business owner. She turned a passion into a career. I'm really happy for her. When she started, I promised her that since my work hours were flexible, I'd hold things down at home so she could focus on building her business. We were a team until we weren't. My wife's an extreme workaholic, and it's come between our family. We're not in a good place. Our daughters, 10F, caregiving is solely on me. The time my wife and daughter spend together is made up mostly of short replies or silence. Our daughter isn't disrespectful. She's a good kid, she's just not as comfortable with her mom. My wife and I have had a lot of talks about the state of our family. With the business well off the ground and her not needing to personally oversee everything as often, we're working on reconnecting. It's been an uphill battle. Recently, we had a bad fight. She told me she's given up on trying with our daughter. She said she's not good at it, and she's just going to stay in her lane. I told her she couldn't decide to clock out on our daughter during rocky stints. She said she's emotionally exhausted from repeatedly striking out. She feels she can't do anything right in our daughter's eyes. She said I have it easy, that our daughter prefers me, and even made sure her whole class knew it. The class jab was about a school assignment. Our daughter had to interview someone she admired, and she asked me. My wife was hurt. She still feels a way about it. She accused me of not understanding. She comes home to a child she carried not respecting her. That our daughter's an expert critic when it comes to her. She went into a huge rant. The way she talked about her rubbed me the wrong way. I told her most of her complaints weren't our daughter's creation. She asked me what that meant, and I laid it out that she hasn't gone out of her way to connect with our daughter. She shut me down. She went into how she busts her ass for our family, and the least I could do is show up for her. All I do is show up for her, including holding down responsibilities that we're supposed to share. We aren't childless. It's no longer those me and her against the world days. I need to show up for our daughter too. She just kept saying she has a lot on her plate and how I'm supposed to be her piece. I refuted the only piece that ever seemed to matter these days was hers. She said our daughter and I are two of a kind and began sarcastically apologizing for her sacrifices, and if the business is what's driving us apart, then she'll renounce it. She'd make do. I asked if we could skip her martyr routine and actually talk. The fight only escalated. I called the fight a complete waste of time, but she interpreted that as me calling her a waste of time. It was the worst fight we had in a while. Our daughter was at her grandparents', so she didn't hear anything. We're at an impasse. Things are still tense. I'd how to clear the air or how to reach her about our daughter. She can't dismiss her like some disgruntled customer at work. In a lot of ways, I feel like a single parent. I don't believe she's being honest with herself about our issues. She's a distant figure who has a habit of talking at our daughter instead of to her. There are a lot of broken promises. Nothing ever mended. She doesn't try engaging. Our daughter loves anime, but my wife doesn't hold back on overly criticizing it in front of her. Our daughter got into K-pop, but to my wife it's just bothersome noise around the house or in the car. Our daughter has stage fright. Yet she joined a school play because she knows her mom loves theater. My wife promised her she'd come. She didn't. The worst part was seeing our daughter realize she wasn't. My wife never apologized. She gave her, work was busy. I promise next time speech. She offered to bring our daughter with her on Take Your Child to Work Day. I thought it'd be good for them and a chance for our daughter to see more of what her mom does. But our daughter called me upset and wanted me to pick her up. She said her mom had immediately left her with a subordinate and went AWOL. When my wife checked in on her, they fought. She told our daughter that a bratty attitude won't be tolerated in her workplace. She and I had it out later. She apologized to our daughter and blamed blowing up on work frustration. She offered to bring her back another day, but our daughter refused. My wife always felt she was bad at articulating her feelings. She feels she comes off aggressive. That's partly why she leaves our daughter's caretaking to me. But this fight has me questioning the nature of our relationship. I don't doubt she loves our daughter. I saw it firsthand during the pregnancy, and in our private conversations, she couldn't stop gushing about her. I felt her love in the little things. Something changed over time. My wife isn't close with her parents. She usually has me talk with them on her behalf. She has a mindset that parents/kids don't have to be close. She believes since she turned out fine, so will our daughter. I'm failing to help their relationship and our own. We barely have quality time. Intimacy is shot. When we're out together, we aren't really together because in public, she's hyper-aware and has her business persona on. What else to do? I'm at a loss. I'm not trying to bash my wife. Update 1. My wife and I had a serious discussion about everything. It took us a while to get there because things were still tense after our last fight and our mini spats in between. Our daughter noticed the rift between her mom and me. She asked me about it. I'm not proud of that. I never wanted her involved in our fights. It was a larger wake-up call. I shouldn't have let it drag out. My wife asked if we could talk, and we both apologized for the fight. She was worried that I was calling it quits after how bad our last fight was. She took us not recovering as quickly as usual and my distance as me being done. She wanted to make a gesture for our marriage. I told her that her harsh action towards our daughter had made me question our relationship. She said she felt bad for intensely ranting about our daughter. She was overwhelmed and used the situation as a punching bag. She loves our daughter but is at a loss as a parent. I told her we'd all keep being at a loss in our current state. We're disconnected as a couple and a family. I feel like a single parent and alone in our marriage. Our current way isn't working. Her lack of presence is the common root cause. I didn't feel like our daughter or I actually mattered and were more put up with by her. That statement really bothered her. She denied it and promised our family does matter to her. She said she knows things aren't good right now, but she wants our family. That she gets frustrated and says stuff she doesn't mean, but it doesn't equate to how she actually feels. I told her it's not just her words. It's her actions, her harshness and how she chooses everything over our family every single time while expecting us to just have smiles on our faces. We're not props, and I can't enforce a relationship between her and our daughter. She said she has trouble with contentment, and it's an endless chase. She has this need to keep chasing after an inner feeling she's always felt she missed. We talked about the feeling before. It's a high and feeling whole. She said she thought our relationship was the answer, she thought our daughter was the answer, and then she thought her business would completely fill that void. She said she doesn't know how to be with our daughter. When our daughter was a baby, everything was easier, that our daughter would get excited when she came home from work, that no matter what she did or didn't do, she had our daughter's love. But she's older now and barely seems to like being in the same room as her and clings to me. I asked if she's considered that maybe our daughter's hurting from her criticism and broken promises. My wife feels she's doing better than her parents. She said all our daughter knows is the grandpa and grandma who adore her over FaceTime. She doesn't know what they were like. Her childhood was staying in a child's place, doing what was expected of you, representing the family, and attitudes weren't tolerated. There wasn't a problem they couldn't solve with a belt. My wife said she doesn't believe in the belt as discipline, but she doesn't know how to be with our daughter and fears she's aggressive when communicating, so she leaves our daughter to me. She doesn't feel she's good as a mother to an older child or with expressing personal feelings. She said I knew what her parents were like. She's right. My in-laws ran an unforgiving household. My wife was pretty much a latchkey kid. My Phil was always working, and my Mill was busy with her community engagements. Feelings were compared to complaining, and there were certain expectations of my wife. I was 17 and my wife was 19 when we had our daughter. Of course the circumstances weren't ideal, but my in-laws made you feel their disapproval. There wasn't support to be found from them. They told my wife that if she was grown enough to make a baby, then she was grown enough to take on the responsibilities on her own. My in-laws have mellowed out a lot now, but my wife has no contact with them. She used her business to pay off their house, and that was that. I'm the buffer between them. I'm accustomed to being my wife's protector. That was always our dynamic. Especially during the pregnancy, when everyone had commentary, were comedians, or when guys would talk about her. Looking back, I think that's part of why I made excuses for her actions with our daughter. I told my wife that I'm in love with her, but our daughter can't be at the expense of our relationship. We're at a crossroads. Something needed to change. Counseling isn't an option anymore. It's happening for our daughter and me. I want for us to come through this as a family. If she refuses counseling, I'd respect her decision, but her answer would give me my answer on what I needed to do for the best of our daughter. We'd have to separate for the time being. My wife said if it's between counseling or losing our family, then she chooses counseling. She wants to keep working on our marriage and reconnecting as a family. We're not props. I asked if this was what she really wanted. If we do this, it can't be her showing up in word only but looking for any reason to skip out. She said what we built means something to her, and losing that has become more real to her now. I talked with our daughter about her feelings on counseling too. I didn't just want to randomly throw an appointment on her. She was pretty open to the idea. I think it's because she's close with my parents and she knows they do counseling. My wife and I are officially in counseling. We're trying a conjoint therapy approach for right now. It's a new experience for us. Prior to this, my wife was never big on counseling, but she has been showing up. She hasn't flaked. There has been some improvement with my wife and daughter. My wife has pulled back on criticism and asking our daughter questions. Recently, we went to an amusement park as a family, and they had a good time together on some rides. My wife asked to pair with our daughter on a few games too. It was the first time in a long time I saw them share a laugh. Nothing's perfect. We're in the early stages. I know my wife and daughter's relationship will be a long road. I know how it pans out isn't up to me, but I'm here to support our daughter in whatever she needs. I'd quit the future holds, but I want to be hopeful for my family. Maybe it's not too late. I want the best for everyone involved. Our daughter will be starting middle school soon, and I told my wife that she'll need both of us. I'm hoping this road isn't the end of my family. I want us to have to come through this together. When I chose a life with her, it wasn't because we were having a baby, so let's stick together. It was because I love her and want to be with her. I want to make this work. Update 2. It's been about 5 months since we started therapy. It's still surreal to type that out. I feel like we're living somebody else's life half the time, like we're characters in a sitcom that keeps getting writers who want to test how much the leads can take before breaking. But it's our reality, and if nothing else, we're finally seeing each other for who we really are, not who we wanted to be. Here's what's happened since the last update, in order, and no sugarcoating. Some of this isn't easy to admit, but I think some folks reading this might recognize pieces of their own family in ours. Maybe that'll help someone. We've been doing joint therapy sessions weekly, sometimes with our daughter and sometimes just us. Most of the time it's slow, more like a check-in than any breakthrough. But there was one session when things just snapped. The therapist asked my wife about her fears around parenting and intimacy. Usually she avoids eye contact, mumbles something about her busy brain, or just deflects to "I want my family." This time, I swear, she looked at the floor for like a full minute before saying, "Sometimes I wish I could just start over. No business. No parent stuff. No pressure to be anything to anyone but me." I think I stopped breathing for a second. I honestly heard that as, "I wish I never had any of this." My wife was quick to say it wasn't that she didn't love us, but she feels like no matter how much effort she puts in as a mom or wife, she's always 2 steps behind. Like everyone else has a manual and she's just faking it. Our daughter was on the couch, hugging a pillow, and I saw her face shudder up. Midway through the session, she quietly got up and left the room. We didn't stop her. None of us even knew what to say. That night I found our daughter curled up on her bed, absolutely silent except for the bed springs creaking under her shaking. When I sat beside her, she rolled away, but when I said her name she just let loose, tears, fists pounding the comforter, the works. Told me she was tired of everyone always talking about what's wrong and trying to fix things, like there was some huge mistake she was born from. It floored me. She wasn't just sad, she was mad. At her mom for being so unavailable, at me for constantly trying to drag all the family's pain into the open. She asked me if it was her fault. Why else would everyone fight or cry or go to therapy unless it was her? I tried to tell her it wasn't, but in that moment, I saw it, how all the working on things wasn't happening in a vacuum. Our intention to fix the marriage, to help her mom bond with her, had made her feel like she was at the root of it all. That was a hard pill to swallow. Not even 2 weeks later, the school called. Our daughter, always the peacekeeper, got caught up in the first real trouble of her life. She stood up for her friend, who the class targets a lot. From what the principal told us, it escalated pretty fast and some harsh words were thrown. Both my wife and I had to go in. We actually managed to handle it as a team instead of as 2 strangers in the same room. I think our daughter noticed. She clung to her mom's hand, not mine, when we left. That was the first time in years she'd sought that out. My wife didn't let go for a long time. We sat together in the car, none of us talking at first. Then my wife asked if she was okay, and our daughter told her she was tired of deciding whose side to be on. That she wanted us to be on the same team. We promised we'd work on that part, no matter what. Something changed in the air after that. Then, just as I thought things were steadying, life threw another surprise. One night, I went to use my wife's laptop because mine was charging and hers was open on the dining table. Up popped a chat window I wasn't supposed to see, a conversation with her childhood best friend. The first few messages were catch-up stuff. Then came the bombshell: I keep thinking about moving the business. I could have a clean slate in other city. Maybe even take daughter with me. I don't know if would follow. Sometimes I just want to leave everything behind. But I know it'd kill him. I wish I could say I handled it coolly. Instead, I confronted her the second she came home. We argued, voices raised but not yelling, if that makes sense. She admitted the pressure, the feeling of letting everyone down, made her fantasize about starting over somewhere where she wasn't a constant disappointment. Sometimes she pictured just herself. Sometimes her and our daughter. But she always stopped at the thought of losing me completely. It wasn't enough comfort at the time. I was hurt. I asked if she was actually planning to go. She said she didn't know, but if she ever did, we'd make a real, mutual decision. Here's where the night took a turn. We hadn't realized our daughter heard the fight. She interrupted us, visibly shaken but composed in that way only kids who've put themselves last too many times can be. She said, "If you're both thinking about running away, can I come too? I think about that a lot." She admitted she sometimes wishes she could start somewhere new, be someone that doesn't have to keep anyone together. Said she wrote letters to her future self about what happiness might feel like, about feeling visible, listened to, and special. She actually brought out her little journal and let us read some of it. It tore me up. She's honest in a way adults rarely are. Page after page of "I hope I'm not invisible anymore and maybe mom will notice when I'm gone." Our daughter wasn't waiting for us to save her, she was already dreaming of escaping, just like her mom. Nobody said anything for minutes. We just sat, together, holding each other the way a family is supposed to. That was the most honest moment we've had in years. A few days after, my parents called my wife. Invited her out for coffee, just her. She came home with red eyes and asked if I thought she was a bad mother, which is not something she's ever said before. Apparently, my parents told her they loved her like a daughter, but they were worried about our girl. They said, "You've built something incredible. But you don't have to do it alone or lose your family to keep it going." They even offered to help with the business, covering payroll briefly, whatever it took, to let her spend more time with our daughter. They said they believe in her, not just as an entrepreneur, but as family. She cried. She said it was the first time in years she'd felt like she wasn't being weighed and found wanting. So here's the craziest part, my wife agreed to take a full month off. No work. No phone calls unless it was truly an emergency. She committed to focusing on our home and our kid. Honestly, I wasn't sure she could stick to it, but she did. She started showing up for our daughter's life in real ways. She went to an anime club meeting, super awkward but made an effort, asking our daughter's friends questions, even Googling things so she didn't seem out of place. Let our girl play her favorite K-pop songs on car rides, even if mom didn't get it. She apologized when she snapped or tuned out, sometimes right after, sometimes hours later, but every time, she made herself accountable. The real highlight, our daughter's school talent show. She'd quietly signed up for a piano duet, but at the last minute, her partner got sick. Our daughter was about to drop out but my wife offered, "Want to do it with me? I can fake the melody, you handle the hard part." It was nowhere near perfect, they flubbed a few keys and at one point just started laughing at how offbeat it got, but seeing them let go and actually enjoy it felt, I don't know, like the start of something new. I teared up in the second row, not even pretending I wasn't that embarrassing dad. When the month was almost over, my wife and I had one of those late night talks you have when the house is finally quiet. I told her the truth, I was scared we'd never get back what we lost. She said she'd been scared of that too, scared she'd never be enough for either of us. But she was tired of hiding. Neither of us had answers, but we agreed, we'd forgive ourselves for the past, and each other, and show up for our daughter however we could. As for us romantically, we decided we'd live in and grow into whatever our relationship could be, even if it changed. But always, absolutely, as co-parents and friends. It's not a fairy tale ending. But just before summer break, our daughter suggested we go back to the city where her mom and I had our first real date, when none of this existed except the two of us. She wanted to make new memories there, this time with all of us. We rented a car, fought over snacks, and spent afternoons arguing about which playlist to put on. K-pop won out half the time, somehow. No forced family fun, no pretending we're healed, just us, together, driving into the unknown, as a family trying their best. At one point on the highway, my wife and our daughter were singing along to some ridiculous song, off-key, with the windows down. I caught myself smiling, really smiling, for the first time in a long, long time. Update 3. It's been about 8 months since that road trip across the old city, and if I thought life was finally winding down into a normal rhythm, I was, predictably, wrong. Things have changed, a lot. Some days it feels like we're building something new together, brick by brick. Other days it feels like one strong gust could blow the whole damn thing over, but honestly, that's more progress than I would have believed a year ago. Our daughter started middle school, which is its own kind of trial by fire. The summer ended on a high note, but as September crept up, something in her shifted. She got quieter, fidgety, obsessed over what to wear the first day, first time she ever cared about stuff like that. The night before orientation, she asked me, point blank, "Will people know about all the stuff with mom and you?" She was worried her old friends might already have an idea that our family is different, whatever that means to a 6th grader. My wife and I both went to orientation, which, honestly, was more awkward for us than for her. But she kept glancing back just to check we were both there. I could tell it meant a lot. Then something wild happened. My wife volunteered for the school parent committee. She actually looked at the sign-up sheet and raised her hand. I nearly dropped my coffee. She hates stuff like that. On the way home, she told me, "I still don't know what I'm doing with this parenting thing. But I want her to see me around." For our daughter, that was huge. She started middle school nervous, but when she saw us both there, she ran up and hugged her mom in front of some new friends. That's not nothing. Just as we were catching our breath with this new routine, everything cratered at my wife's shop. Midway through October, she found out a long-term employee had been skimming money off the books for nearly a year. It's one of those things you don't see coming until it's already detonated everything. My wife was gutted, part embarrassed, part just crushed. That employee had been her right-hand person. Suddenly, she was back at the business late every night, running damage control, calling lawyers, facing accounts she'd neglected. The progress we'd all made at home started slipping, hard. She canceled movie night, then dinner, then anime club. She was absent at home, and our daughter noticed. Old wounds reopened. Our daughter started eating dinner in her room again, started staying up late. The tension felt the same as before, the kind you can't see but it's everywhere. One night, after my wife came home looking like a ghost, our daughter sat us both down and, in one of those kid moments that cut through all the adult bullshit, asked, "Are you leaving again, Mom?" Not going to lie, that one hurt. For all my wife's progress, it was still her pattern, and our daughter saw it clearer than we wanted to admit. To her credit, my wife didn't get defensive. She just listened, then offered something I never thought she would. "Maybe you could help me with the business? Both of you, if you like. See what it's really like. I need help, and I want you to see why I get lost sometimes. Maybe that helps me not do it alone." That was new. The next Saturday, we spent the day at her shop. Stuffing envelopes, answering the phone, helping customers. Our daughter saw her mom stressed, but she also saw her laugh with regulars, fix problems on the fly, and, at one point, group hug us behind the counter after closing. It was chaos, but it was together. That crisis had ripple effects outside our little world. Word got out, our business was small but known in the community. Out of nowhere, my wife's parents, yes, those parents, reached out after hearing from someone at their church that my wife was in trouble. I think they expected her to ignore them. We debated it for days. I told her I'd support whatever she wanted, but our daughter asked if she could come if we did meet. She just wanted to see her grandparents in real life, not just on a screen. The meeting was awkward, neutral ground at a coffee shop. Our in-laws were stiff, old school, but actually apologized. Not for everything, but for not supporting my wife when she needed it. Her mother told her she was proud, that building something from nothing takes strength, stuff she'd never say when my wife was a teen. It was weird, but it was real. Our daughter got to sit and listen to stories about her as a baby, about how stubborn she's always been. She blushed but didn't argue. It wasn't a group hug moment, but the ice cracked, and now there's a chance for more. Maybe it helped stop history from repeating. Somewhere in the middle of all this fixing and patching and family emergencies, my own work crashed hard. I missed a critical deadline, first time ever. My boss called it uncharacteristic, but he gave me a real warning. I'd been so focused on everyone else, I'd lost the thread at my own job. For the first time since becoming the reliable one, I had to admit to my wife that I wasn't okay. That I was panicking, scared of blowing up my own career after all this time keeping things afloat. What surprised me, she didn't shut down. She listened. She told me I couldn't be the only glue anymore. Then, for the first time, she gave me the space to take care of myself. She juggled her business, got her parents to help a bit, and our daughter even offered to help with chores. We negotiated things better, and instead of things collapsing, it actually helped solidify us as a team. With all this turbulence, our daughter found her own way to step up. She joined the drama club. Turns out, she still remembers the time her mom let her skip the play but always secretly wanted to star in something. Her confidence grew. She made friends who cared less about family backstory and more about shared weirdness. She invited us to her first show, not just asked, but basically demanded we sit together. Watching her on stage, doing her part and then running off to bow, she looked at us, her parents, not perfect, but both there, and grinned the biggest grin I've ever seen. After, she hugged us, said it was our cheering and patience in rehearsal that got her through. "You're both the reason I thought I could do it," she said. I nearly lost it. So here's the curveball. I was clearing out the garage last weekend, trying to do the most dad thing ever, and found a box I'd never seen. It was filled with dozens of letters, some addressed to me, others to our daughter. None sent. Some were written years ago, on napkins, envelopes, torn notebook pages. Most were never meant for anyone else to read. Apologies, confessions, raw fears about failing, love letters from the middle of the night. I read a few. Then I stopped. I just couldn't do it alone. I handed the box to my wife that night. She looked at me, asked if I'd read them, and I said yes, a few. We had a long, raw talk. For once, she didn't hide. She read some out loud to me, then to our daughter. Some were heartbreakingly honest. "I'm sorry I disappear. I promise I'll try again tomorrow. I do love you, even when I'm not good at showing it." It was the hardest talk we've ever had, and maybe the most healing. Wrapping up, the therapy finale. We finished therapy this month, joint session, sitting together on one couch, our daughter taking the middle seat because she wanted to this time. Our therapist asked what we'd each learned. My wife said, "Love doesn't come natural to everyone. But I can choose to learn it, even when I mess up." I said, "I learned I can't fix everything. Letting you both in was the scariest, but best thing I've done." Our daughter just said, "I believe you'll both try for me, and I'll keep trying too."